Let's jump back to the channel. Today we've got another UFC preview and predictions. The main event this weekend, I guess, is Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez. It's not official yet by the UFC, but that's pretty much what everyone's thinking right now. I mean, the other possible main events are Jeff Neal and Neal Magny. Not a horrible fight. Felipe Lins and Ben Rothwell. And then maybe Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus someone, maybe Kevin Holland, but it looks like it will be Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson in the main event of this card here in the Apex on Saturday night. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. And now let's get into the full card predictions and breakdown. So our first fight here is between Klein and Mike Trizano. We're gonna start first here with Klein. So his last fight was a win. It was his promotional debut, and he beat Shane Young over on UFC 253, which was Adesanya and Costa. Got the job done with the knockout really early in that fight, a minute into it, and that's how he made his debut into the UFC. Before that, he was fighting in Octagon in Slovakia, and before the UFC run for Klein, he was 16-2, now 17-2 with that one win in the UFC. Klein, though, good on the feet, good on the ground as well. You've seen him in the past get finishes on the ground. You can also get him on the feet. He also fought in Cage Warriors. He had one appearance over in that promotion. 2017, he did lose to Aiden Lee by rear naked choke, but again, 2017, it's been a long time since then. And then after that, Klein again has gone in on an 8-fight winning streak leading up to this Mike Trizano fight. The Shane Young fight, really impressive for Klein. He was a slight favorite going into that fight, and again, just early in that fight, caught Shane Young with a head kick, put him down, and it was enough for him to win that fight. So yeah, that's Klein coming into this fight with a record currently of 17 wins and 2 losses, but in this fight he takes on the Ultimate Fighter winner in Mike Trizano. Now you can make the case that Mike Trizano should be 0-3 in the UFC. You definitely can. Now his first fight in the UFC was a win over Joe Giannetti to win the Ultimate Fighter show season 27. He won that fight by split decision. A lot of people thought there was a chance that Giannetti won that one. He didn't really do anything in the third round, so kind of just gave the victory to Trizano. It was a weird fight, but Trizano wins that. Then 4 months later, he takes on Violent Bob Ross Luis Pena. It was a split decision. The win went to Trizano. It was in Denver on the Korean Zombie and Yair Rodriguez card. A lot of people thought Violent Bob Ross won that one though, so it was another controversial decision. And then his third fight in the UFC was a loss to Grant Dawson. He got rear naked choked 2 minutes into the second round over on Dos Anjos and Lee over in Rochester, New York. So currently Trizano, yeah, he is 2-1 in the promotion, but a lot of people could make the case that he is 0-3. Of course, to win the Ultimate Fighter though, he did go through a couple guys before getting to the finale, most notably John Gunther. But yeah, I mean, the resume is just not that impressive currently for Mike Trizano. The Giannetti fight was just weird. It was to the point where Dana White, you know, after someone wins the Ultimate Fighter, he comes into the octagon, hey, you win the 6-figure contract and you get the Harley Davidson you really don't give a damn about, but we're gonna give you a Harley Davidson just because it's the Ultimate Fighter and we're sponsored by them. Yeah, he didn't even do that. It was kind of a boring fight for being real. And yeah, again, Trizano coming into this fight with a record of 8-1. Solid on the ground is Mike Trizano, solid on the feet as well, but if I'm being honest here, Klein I think is just all around better than Mike Trizano, and we haven't seen Mike Trizano since May of 2019. It has been a while since we have seen him in the octagon. We just saw Klein in September of last year, and he's looked really good. Again, Klein's stand-up game is good, his ground game is good. I think all around, Klein just has the advantage in this fight. Do I think he gets a finish in this one? Yeah, we're gonna say knockout in the first round again for Klein. I think he continues that success that he saw in the Shane Young fight. I don't know if he gets the spectacular head kick knockout, but I do think he gets the job done here by first round TKO. So a solid second fight here on this card. It is between Jun Young Park and Nchukwi. We're going to start first here with the Iron Turtle in Jun Young Park, coming to this fight with the record of 12-4, currently on a 2-fight winning streak in the UFC. The first fight of that winning streak being a win over Marc-Andre Barriault over in South Korea on the Edgar and Korean Zombie card. And then after that, most recently, he picked up a win over John Phillips, and John Phillips did have Khamzat Chimaev, I guess, training him. I don't know, in the back, Khamzat Chimaev was just there. Of course, John Phillips was Chimaev's first victim in the UFC, but nonetheless, Jun Young Park went in there and beat John Phillips. But John Phillips' UFC run was just not very good. Jun Young Park's first fight though in the UFC was a loss to Anthony Hernandez. And hey, Anthony Hernandez, is he the black belt hunter now because he beat Adolfo Vieira? Maybe. So there's really no shame in losing by submission to Adolfo Vieira, definitely, but to also Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. And Jun Young Park did lose to Hernandez in the UFC. That was his first ever fight in the promotion. And yeah, Jun Young Park again, current record of 12 wins and 4 losses. Now, on the feet against Nchukwi, Jun Young Park does have a solid stand-up game, but I just don't think he's going to be able to beat Nchukwi on the feet. I just don't think he's going to be able to. Now, in the John Phillips fight, he did use his wrestling, and that's how he beat John Phillips. And yeah, John Phillips' wrestling is just not very good. But the way for Junior Park to win this fight is not on the feet. I don't think he's going to beat Nchukwi in a stand-up fight. We saw Nchukwi just pretty much dominate Jamie Pickett on the feet when they fought in December of last year. I think Junior Park's strategy for this fight is simple. You got to take Nchukwi down. Nchukwi's ground game has not really been tested too much, considering the man just hasn't been in a cage that much. Nchukwi's only had 5 professional fights. Junior Park has had 16. So there's that. I mean, experience obviously going to Junior Park in this one. I think he's going to drag Nchukwi to the ground in this one. I don't think... if he just trades power for power against Nchukwi will most likely put away Junior Park on the feet. But if Park can drag this one to the ground, he has a really good chance to win this fight. So that's obviously what Junior Park has to do in this one. Again, it's that simple. Nchukwi, only 5 pro fights. But now let's talk about him. Nchukwi. And yes, he's only had 5 pro fights, but the man has been very impressive in those fights. And the most notable fight, I think, has to be the winner for Jamie Pickett. He looks so good in that fight. That was on a Wonder Boy and Jeff Neal, the last card of 2020. It looked like Nchukwi was going to get Jamie Pickett out of there multiple points in that first round. He didn't, but eventually just 3-round, pretty good performance for Nchukwi in that one. And then he won the Contender Series, got a head kick knockout in 2 minutes, or in the second round of his fight in the Contender. But I want to bring up the fight against Will Knight. He knocked out Will Knight over in Cage Fury, CFFC in Hampton, Virginia. Got the job done, beat a really good fighter. I think pretty highly of Will Knight. I mean, I know what you're thinking. Will Knight recently, okay, yeah, his last fight against Down Jung was not very good, but Nchukwi does hold a win over Will Knight. 2019, it wasn't that long ago. Nchukwi, again, only a 5-0 professional record, fought a couple times in the amateur circuit. He was 3-0 over there. The stand-up game is where Nchukwi is very good at, and I mapped it out. If Junior Park's gonna win this fight, it has to be on the ground. I just don't see it. There's just not a path to victory, I think, for Park on the feet, and that's why I'm gonna go with Nchukwi. I think Nchukwi's gonna be able to keep this one standing. And now, will it be Junior Park just trying to stay standing with Nchukwi? Maybe it will, but I just think Nchukwi's got the better edge in this fight. I think the stand-up game is very good. I liked what I saw in the Jamie Pickett fight, and that's why I'm gonna go with Nchukwi. I think he's gonna be able to get a finish in this one. I'm gonna go with Nchukwi with the first-round TKO. Yeah, back-to-back first-round TKOs. I don't do that often, but that just shows you how impressed I am with Nchukwi, going with the first-round TKO finish. Next up, we've got a fight here between Carlston Harris and Christian Aguilera. We're gonna start here with the Guyanan fighter. And Carlston Harris, the first fighter in the UFC from Guyana. He got the contract from fighting on Dana White's looking for a fight in UAE Warriors. He beats one of Habib's teammates on that card. Again, he's a welterweight. He wasn't supposed to win that fight. He comes in there trying to, on short notice too, by the way, trying to basically get a contract in the UFC. He's, what, 33 years old. He comes in there and he submits the guy by Darce choke in the second round. Big upset, and Dana White gave him the contract after the night was over. So Carlston Harris coming into this fight, the record of 15-4. Also, he fought Wellington Turman, a UFC fighter, Wellington Turman, in 2016. He beat him by unanimous decision in Immortal FC. Of course, Wellington Turman got the call to the UFC a lot sooner than Carlston Harris. Harris did have a loss in 2018 and Brave CF. But then went on that 2-fight winning streak in Shuto, Brazil, and then got the call to go fight in UAE Warriors. Picked up a win there by Darce, and of course, got the contract into the UFC. Carlston Harris, though, I think the game plan is pretty simple in this one. It kind of like the last fight. Christian Aguilera, a very good striker. You've seen it in the past. Aguilera is able to put guys out on the feet, but on the ground, and I know he fought Sean Brady in his last fight, but if Carlston Harris can drag this one to the mat, I think he's got a pretty clear path to victory, right? So, and I know Sean Brady's a very good fighter. The dude's, I mean, that dude's good. Sean Brady is a talented fighter. Just beat Jake Matthews most recently. I mean, the sky's the limit for that guy. But Carlston Harris, follow the game plan that Sean Brady fought against Christian Aguilera. That's how you beat him. So that's Carlston Harris, the first Guyanan fighter in the UFC with the record 15-4. Let's talk about his opponent here in Christian Aguilera. And yeah, Aguilera, good striker. Don't get me wrong, tremendous striker. You saw it in his first UFC fight against Anthony Ivy. It was on iCalvio, and I do believe that was the first fight on the card. Yes, it was. Comes in there, I mean, 50 seconds, in less than a minute, knocks out Anthony Ivy, basically just bull rushes him. There was a bunch of strikes, big flurry, and he puts down Anthony Ivy. Cool. Next fight he takes 2 months later, and it's a fight against Sean Brady where he was outmatched on the ground. Sean Brady's ground game is just so damn good. Sean Brady, if he's not in the top 15 yet, he's going to be in the very near future. I mean, the dude dominated Court McGee on the ground, so I mean that's telling you something, right? But Aguilera, just just got outmatched in that fight against Sean Brady. He was a big underdog in that one. Sean Brady got the job done by guillotine in the second round. And that's concerning if you're Christian Aguilera, because again, Carlston Harris is a good ground fighter. His stand-up game is good, by the way, too, for Carlston Harris. But if I had to give an advantage on the feet, I'm giving it to Christian Aguilera. I definitely am. But I mean, Aguilera coming to this fight with a record 14-7. He's been beat 7 times so far in the career, a couple times at LFA. He's got to keep this fight standing if he's going to win. I mean, it's that simple. Christian Aguilera's got to be looking for a knockout if he's going to win this fight, because I don't think he's going to be able to hang on the ground with Carlston Harris. And yeah, you saw it in the Anthony Ivy fight. Aguilera, again, I believe he's an underdog in that fight. Yeah, he was an underdog in that fight. It was not supposed to be Anthony Ivy in that fight. You saw it really quick, comes right out of the gates, swinging, throwing a lot of punches, a lot of volume very early in that fight. He landed one. And put down Anthony Ivy. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do the same to Carlston Harris, because Carlston Harris is a good fighter. He's a well-experienced fighter, too. You're not fighting a young fighter that you usually get out of Dana White looking for a fight. You're usually getting guys that are like 22, 25. No, Carlston Harris is 33 years old, and he's fought 19 fights in his pro career. Okay? Christian Aguilera has fought 21. So the experience level's about the damn same in this one. With all that being said, I'm taking Carlston Harris. I've seen Christian Aguilera get submitted before, and I know it was Sean Brady, but I think Carlston Harris is going to be able to do the same exact thing. Now, the guy Carlston Harris fought, one of Khabib's teammates over there on the UAE Warriors card, the dude was 17-1 going into that fight. The guy had 9 pro submissions, and I know Harris did get taken down in that one, but still, he worked his way up from the back. He got top position, got into side control, and put him away with the Snoop Dogg called dart choke, but of course it's a darts choke. But yeah, Carlston Harris, I saw him beat Izakimiev, I believe his name. He's 17-1. You go watch the Dana White looking for a fight video, but I've seen him beat him. So what's saying he's not going to beat Christian Aguilera, right? I'm that confident. I think Carlston Harris is going to submit him. And if you watched the channel before, I don't usually pick finishes that often, but I'm doing it. 3 straight finishes to start off the card. And I know last week we had a million damn decisions other than Yuri Prohashka. Oh my goodness, that dude, give him a title shot. But yeah, I'm going with Carlston Harris. I think it's a submission. I'm going second round submission in this one. Carlston Harris going to 1-0 in the UFC. All right, so an interesting fight at heavyweight next. It's Maurice Greene and Marcus Rodriguez de Lima. I don't know where to start with this one. I'm going to tell you this fight could go either way. This is like a pure 50-50 fight. I mean, anything could happen in this one. Both these guys coming off the Ultimate Fighter, or they started in the UFC in the Ultimate Fighter. I'm going to start first with De Lima. Okay, so he lost to Alexander Romanov, and Alexander Romanov, hey, I mean, 3-0 in the UFC. Hey, beat Juan Espino. Did he really beat Juan Espino? Kind of. The technical decision got kicked in the nuts, and then he kind of just, I don't know. It was a weird fight. Go watch Romanov and Espino. I don't know. I don't know how you gave that third round to it, or I don't know how Romanov won that fight. I picked Romanov, and I'm still very high on Alexander Romanov. I think that dude's gonna be good. I think he's gonna be in the top 10 in a couple of years, but I don't really know how he beat Juan Espino. But back to De Lima, he lost to Alexander Romanov. Romanov gets him with the forearm choke, and that's been like really how you beat De Lima. I mean, Marcus Rodriguez de Lima, he got submitted by Stefan Struve. Yeah, Stefan Struve submitted De Lima, so of course Romanov took him down, just placed his forearm right into his neck and just choked him out. Yeah, it was interesting. First time I've ever seen that in the UFC. Hey, Romanov's though is very good on the ground. De Lima got submitted in that one. Before that, he beat Ben Sassoli, but okay, it's Ben Sassoli. He knocked him out in the first round. Okay, before that, he lost to Stefan Struve. Yeah, where he got arm triangle choked in the second round in Stefan Struve's like third retirement fight. Apparently, Stefan Struve's finally retired. Good for him. After the Tuivasa fight, really don't want to see him fight ever again, but good for Stefan Struve. Hopefully he has a great life. I don't know. But yeah, Stefan Struve submits De Lima. Before that, De Lima picks up a win, and before that loses to OSP by Von Flue. That happens to everyone who fights OSP. Before that, gets a win by KO. Loses to Antigulov by guillotine before that, and that's, again, now we're at when De Lima used to fight at 205. And then before that, got submitted by Nikita Kirillov. I mean, and on the Ultimate Fighter show, he got submitted by Antonio Carlos Jr. by Rene Kuchoke as well, who just beat Tom Lawler in the PFL. Why that guy's out the UFC, I do not know, but yeah, De Lima, he's been submitted so many times, but it's not like Maurice Greene's gonna submit him. I mean, and I know what you're thinking. Hey, Maurice Greene submitted Jan Vellante from Tapology, calls it a modified choke from the bottom. I'm gonna talk about that one in a couple minutes here. It's not like Maurice Greene's like a submission specialist. This fight's gonna stay on the feet, and like, who really knows? Like, I mean, both these guys have lost. I mean, De Lima's lost multiple times in his career. Maurice Greene's lost 5 times in his career, or 7 times in his career. 5 times, but he just lost to Greg Hardy. De Lima's lost 7. I don't know, man. I mean, De Lima's striking is all right. Maurice Greene's striking is all right as well. It's basically going to be, can De Lima close the gap in this fight? If he can close the gap on Maurice Greene, because Maurice Greene will always basically have the reach advantage in any of his fights for the most part. If De Lima can close that gap, yeah, he will have a chance at striking distance to put away Maurice Greene. If this fight hits the mat, I don't know what to tell you. I want to see it hit the mat because I just don't know what's gonna happen. That's my hope. I want this one to hit the mat. It's not gonna happen, but yeah, that's De Lima coming to this fight with a record of 17 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw. Let's talk about his opponent here in Maurice Greene. Okay, yeah, Maurice Greene just got knocked out by Greg Hardy. I don't know, like, what are we thinking about Greg Hardy anymore? Because yeah, he beat Maurice Greene, he beat Yorgande Castro, but Yorgande Castro just got KO'd by Dargis Danho. I mean, like, what are we doing? Yeah, Maurice Greene lose to Greg Hardy, and then before that beats Jan Vellante in a fight he was gonna lose. He was gonna lose to Jan Vellante, and then until Vellante knocks Maurice Greene down. Yeah, he got knocked down by Jan Vellante. Vellante follows him to the ground. All right, looks like he's just gonna either ground and pound him out for a finish, or he's just gonna, you know, stay on bottom. The fight's almost over. There's only a minute left. Vellante's just gonna ride this one out for a decision victory. Okay, Greene just throws up. I mean, I don't even know if he was intending to try to get a submission win. He was just trying to, like, hold Jan Vellante down there with him. He kind of puts on a choke, but it's not really. Jan Vellante's tired. Greene just kind of squeezed a little bit, and Vellante taps from the top. He's in full mount, he taps. It might have been half mount, but he was in mount, and he just tapped. I don't know. Maurice Greene won that one by submission, sure. According to Tapology, it was the 37th best MMA submission of the year. No. I need to see what. No, real quick. What do you guys think is number 38 on this list? Let's see. Number 38 was, okay, Kay Hansen submitting Jinyu Fry by armbar. Like, how is that lower than, I don't know. Apparently people love themselves a modified choke from the bottom. But back to Maurice Greene. Before that, he gets submitted by Alexei Oleinik on the McGregor Cowboy card. I mean, it's going to happen to you. Alexei Oleinik's got, what, like 50 submission wins? Sure, and before that, he gets KO'd by Sergey. Yeah, and then before that, Maurice Greene beats Junior Albini by KO. I mean, that's happened to a lot of people have KO'd Junior Albini. Before that, beat Jeff Hughes by split decision, and then beat Michelle Batista on the Ultimate Fighter show by triangle choke on the finale. And then before that, lost to Juan Espino. He got rear naked choked in the, of course, on the Ultimate Fighter. And before that, he beat PM. I don't know how to say his name, but they called him PM on the show. I don't know what PM's doing anymore. Apparently, oh god, he's 24-10-1. Yeah, he won his last fight in KSW. Good for PM. You wouldn't get that reference if you didn't watch that show, but yeah, Maurice Greene, again, the record is 9-5. It's salty. And how does he win this fight? Keep his distance. He's 6'7". All right, De Lima's 6'1". De Lima's kind of a small heavyweight. Maurice Greene's a pretty big heavyweight. And what did he weigh in last? Maurice Greene was 250 his last weigh in. De Lima was 258. So I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know. De Lima's coming up from 205. He's been at 265 for a while, but height-wise, yeah, definitely Maurice Greene is a lot taller. Yeah, this is a toss-up fight. Do not put money on this fight. That's my suggestion for you on this one. I gotta pick a winner. I'm gonna say Maurice Greene. Yeah, I know, the guy who almost lost to Jan Vellante. I think Greene keeps his distance in this one, maybe use some kicks. I want to see this one hit the mat because I just don't know what's going to happen. I guess on the mat, I'm going to give a very slight advantage to Maurice Greene because, yes, he has finished Jan Vellante on the mat, so there's that, but he did finish. He did get a finish over Batista on the ground in 2018 on the Ultimate Fighter show, so I would give a very slight advantage to Maurice Greene, and on the feet, toss-up. I'm going to go with Maurice Greene to get the job done. Probably won't be that great of a fight, so it's either basically heavyweight fights usually, I mean, especially these ones in the undercard. What are you thinking? Either first round knockout or first round finish, or is it going to be a decision? This one's going to be a decision. Maurice Greene, give it to him. I guess 30-27. Why not? Yeah, now we've got a flyweight fight. It's Zaruk Adashev and Ryan Benoit. I don't know where to get started on this one either. So Zaruk Adashev's 3-3 in his pro career. He came over from Bellator. He was 2-1 in the UFC, or he's 3-1. The UFC signs him. Tyson Nam knocks him out in 30 seconds. There's that. And then Sumadarji just absolutely destroys him for 3 rounds. And now he's getting Ryan Benoit. Like, he's 3-3, and Ryan Benoit has fought some pretty good opponents in the past. What I can say from Adashev, though, he does have some good power for a 125-pounder. In his last fight in Bellator 232, he did beat Tavon Dice by TKO in the second round. That was on a Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald. That was on the second fight for them. And yeah, he did get a TKO finish in that fight, but He did not look in the Tyson Nam fight, and again, that was 30 seconds, so what you're gonna say? Exactly, right? But the Sumidarji fight, he couldn't get going in that one. And there was a reason why Sumidarji was like a minus 500 favorite in that one. And yeah, I can't really tell you how Zaruk Adashev wins this fight, because Ryan Benoit, say what you want, he is on a 2-fight losing streak, but a lot of people thought that he could have won the Tim Elliott fight, and a lot of people thought he'd beat Altang Ali. Ryan Benoit can finish it on the feet, and like, sometimes he can finish on the ground. He's not great grappling, but Ryan Benoit on the feet is going to absolutely destroy Zaruk Adashev, right? I think Benoit's just, the volume's going to be too much. Ryan Benoit, there's a lot of volume in his fights, and he'll work the body pretty well, and I just don't think Zaruk Adashev is going to be able to keep up with him. So that's troubling if you are Zaruk Adashev. On the ground, I just haven't seen enough of Zaruk Adashev. He's had 6 pro fights, man, and a couple of them, I mean, 3 of them finished in the first round. The Sumidarji fight really just didn't tell us anything, because Sumidarji was pretty dominant in that one. I don't know. I mean, you more look at the levels of opponents that Adashev fought before the UFC's first Ring of Combat fight, lost to Cody Mooney, who was 1-1 at the time. Then he wins a fight in Bellator against a guy who was 0-1. Then he beats a guy in Bellator who was 0-2. Then the Dice fight, guys 3-1, sure. Then Nam, then Sumidarji. Just don't know where to gauge this fight. That's Zaruk Adashev. Again, he's 3-3. We're talking about his opponent now, Ryan Benoit. Yeah, I'm taking Ryan Benoit. I don't know what you want me to say. Adashev, I just don't, I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough of Zaruk Adashev. I've seen Ryan Benoit fight, and I've seen him fight pretty well against Tim Elliott and against Altang Ali. Hell, he knocked out Akshan Mokhtarian in 2017. I know it was a while ago, and I don't remember much from Mokhtarian, but he was not very good in the UFC. He lost to John Moraga as well. I believe he got cut when all the other flyweights got cut, but Benoit knocks out Mokhtarian in the 3rd round of that fight, and people forget, Ryan Benoit had a very close fight against Brandon Moreno in 2016. He lost the one by split decision. Before that, he got another one by split decision. Then he fought Ben Nguyen, lost the one by Rene Kachok. He beat Sergio Pettis. Yeah, the future title challenger in Bellator, Sergio Pettis. Ryan Benoit beats him. UFC 185, Pettis versus Dos Anjos. Knocks him out in the 2nd round. There is that. Ryan Benoit has fought the best of the best in the octagon in the past. I think Zaruk Adashev's on kind of just a different level, and like on a down level. Ryan Benoit's going to win this fight. He's going to win it on the feet. Do I think he's going to get a knockout? Maybe, but I think he's just going to do what Sumidarji basically did to Zaruk Adashev, just control this fight everywhere it goes. I'm going to go with Ryan Benoit to finish, or not finish, I think Ryan Benoit's going to win decision. Now, he's going to get close to finishing Zaruk Adashev. Don't think he's going to be able to get the job done, but I'm going to go with the Ryan Benoit decision. Now, this is a good fight, though. It's between Megatron, Phil Hawes, and Kyle Daukaus. I'm going to start first here with Kyle Daukaus. His last fight was a win over Justin Stoltzfus, unanimous decision win on Figueiredo and Perez in November of last year, and then his UFC debut was a loss to Brendan Allen. I say this every time I talk about Brendan Allen or Kyle Daukaus. Really good fight. I mean, it's on Poirier and Hooker in the summer. It didn't win fight of the night because Poirier and Hooker was on that card, but really underrated scrap. Kyle Daukaus, Brendan Allen, go check it out. Pretty violent fight, pretty bloody fight, but still. Daukaus fights it well. He still loses, though, to Brendan Allen, because Brendan Allen is a really good fighter on the ground, but Kyle Daukaus was the former Cage Fury middleweight champion, and then, of course, he did come in the UFC, lose to Allen, and beat Stoltzfus. Now getting Phil Hawes. And Kyle Daukaus, Phil Hawes, I know, did use his wrestling in the Nasruddin Imavov fight. And we're going to talk about that Imavov fight very soon. But Kyle Daukaus, the strategy is pretty simple this one. If you take down Phil Hawes in this fight, you're going to have a good chance to win this one. And I know Phil Hawes does have some good offensive wrestling, but Phil Hawes' jiu-jitsu, not great. Kyle Daukaus has some tremendous jiu-jitsu. I mean, all of his wins, his first 8 wins were all by, first 9 wins were all by submission. Or 8 out of the 9 were by submission. The one against Michael Lombardo on the Contender Series was not, but Kyle Daukaus knows how to get submission wins. He knows how to get it. Phil Hawes, of course, we know he's a good striker, but Kyle Daukaus' ground game is just, it's going to be too much for Phil Hawes in this fight. So that's the obvious advantage for Kyle Daukaus in this fight. Coming to this one with a record of 10-1, he saw in the Stoltzfus fight, he can really do it all. And a lot of people were impressed with Kyle Daukaus coming out that Brendan Allen fight, because he was a pretty big underdog in that one, if I do recall. Yeah, plus 240 underdog. He fought pretty well against Brendan Allen. And this is the last advantage I'm going to say for Daukaus coming into this fight. Phil Hawes got very tired towards the end of that Imavov fight. Like, he was barely surviving the 3rd round of that one. If Kyle Daukaus can tire out Phil Hawes in this fight, and now he doesn't have to win the first rounds of this fight, I mean, of course it would help, but if he just makes Phil Hawes tired to the point in the 3rd round, he can shoot for a takedown and work his jiu-jitsu and potentially submit Phil Hawes because Phil Hawes is so tired on the ground. That's how he can win this one, because Phil Hawes' gas take, not very good. I know he fights fight style that he's thrown a lot in the first 2 rounds. In the 3rd round, he's gonna start wearing out, or the second part of the 2nd round. That's what happened in the Imavov fight. If Imavov just put a little bit more volume on Phil Hawes in that fight, he probably was gonna win it. A lot of people still thought that Imavov won the fight. I thought Hawes barely edged it out. Judges gave it to Phil Hawes. But you just gotta be thinking about that from both camps, really, for Kyle Daukaus and for Phil Hawes. If you're Phil Hawes, you know you probably gotta get this guy out of here pretty early in this fight, or I gotta make sure I can secure these first 2 rounds and make sure I don't get submitted in the 3rd. Or for Kyle Daukaus, again, wear this guy out in the first couple rounds. You wear him out and you get him to the 3rd and potentially finish him, or you win the 2nd and 3rd rounds in this fight. So that is Kyle Daukaus. Let's talk about his opponent here in Megatron, Phil Hawes. So this is how I see this fight. Can Phil Hawes get Kyle Daukaus out of there in the first 2 rounds? Because if he doesn't, I think Kyle Daukaus is probably going to win this one. I wasn't too impressed with the cardio, of course, of Phil Hawes in his last fight. I don't think really anyone was, because Nasruddin Imavov is a solid fighter, and yes, Phil Hawes did work. He did work his clinch game well. He did push back Nasruddin Imavov against the fence a lot of times in that fight. He did drag him down to the mat. Did have solid top positioning in that fight. Didn't really do much with his wrestling, just kind of, you know, wrestle just to wrestle and just to try to score some points, but he didn't really improve his positioning on the ground at all. But still, Hawes, he won't be using his wrestling in this one, because or definitely his offensive wrestling, because there's no point, right? Kyle Daukaus wants you on his guard, in his guard sometimes. He's got to keep this fight standing. Phil Hawes got to do to Kyle Daukaus what he did to Jacob Malkoun. And at the time, we thought Jacob Malkoun was kind of just a scrub. You know, he was just in the UFC because he trained with Robert Whitaker. Well, no, Jacob Malkoun came in there in his last fight and he beat Abdurrazak Al-Hassan, which I don't know what happened to Abdurrazak Al-Hassan. Ever since he lost to Munir Lazzez, he just really hasn't done much. But, or really since he took that time off. But back to Phil Hawes. Yeah, I think he's got to get Kyle Daukaus out of there, and that's how I'm going to predict this fight. Do I think Phil Hawes is going to be able to get a first-round knockout? If he doesn't, I just don't see a clear path to victory for him. Well, obviously, he's got to try to steal that 2nd round, and I think we're going to kind of give up the 3rd round if you are Phil Hawes, because I think you're thinking that Kyle Daukaus will probably win that one, and you got to avoid Kyle Daukaus fishing for a submission and finishing you in that 3rd round. So, it's a tough fight to call. I'm going to ever so slightly lean towards Phil Hawes. I'm going to lean toward Phil Hawes getting Kyle Daukaus out of there in the 1st round. I know Kyle Daukaus has never been finished in his career. Phil Hawes, on the other hand, has been finished a couple times. He got head kicked by Julian Marquez on the Contender Series, and he also did get submitted in World Series of Fighting. But I'm going to go with Phil Hawes to get the knockout in the 1st round. And if he doesn't, I think you got. If he doesn't, if you're looking at the live odds, all in on Kyle Daukaus. If Phil Hawes can't get him out there in the 1st round, Phil Hawes will definitely probably win the 1st round. I think that's going to be the case in a lot of Phil Hawes fights, because he comes out swinging a lot in that 1st round. So he's probably going to win the 1st. But for Kyle Daukaus, it's simple. You got to win the 2nd and 3rd. And if you still don't win the 2nd, tire this man out to the point in the 3rd round you can go in there and you can get a finish and you can dominate on the ground. I know I've been crapping on Phil Hawes a little bit and about his gas tank and how his ground game is not going to be that good compared to Kyle Daukaus, but still, I'm going to go, again, slightly, we're going with Phil Hawes to knock out Kyle Daukaus in the 1st round. So this is a good fight. This is a very fun fight, and this is going to be a close fight between Gregor Gillespie and Carlos Diego Ferreira. I know Gregor Gillespie's last fight was supposed to be against Brad Riddell. That got canceled due to pandemic and whatnot, but now Gillespie gets Carlos Diego Ferreira, and I don't know why Gregor Gillespie is such a big favorite on some books. I don't get it. This is a good fight, and like, if you're down on Diego Ferreira because of his last fight, technically it was a split decision. It just shouldn't have been. Benil Dariush won that fight pretty easily, but Diego Ferreira did have his moments in that one, and we haven't seen Gregor Gillespie since November of 2019, where he got sent to the Shadow Realm. He joined the Ghost Club along with Ben Askren and all the others in the cartoons. But I mean, he lost to Kevin Lee and he got like completely destroyed in that one. I know it was only a 2-minute fight, and you know that fight because of the head kick knockout, and that's really everything, and you're gonna remember that from that fight. If I'm being honest, that's all I remember from that fight too. But Gillespie, before that, you can't take away that big winning streak he did have to start his UFC career. Big wins over guys such as Jason Gonzalez, Vince Pichel, and Yancy Medeiros. He submits Vince Pichel in the 2nd round. He TKOs Yancy Medeiros with the 2nd left in the 2nd round of their fight. He beats Jason Gonzalez by submission. I mean, Gregor Gillespie with a lot of big wins. He gets a finish in 21 seconds at UFC 210. A lot of big wins before that loss to Kevin Lee. And again, he took a whole year off, and he's still ranked, by the way. I think he's number 15 in the rankings. Don't know how you can take, I mean, what, 14, 15 months off and you're still, no, more than 15 months off and you're still in the rankings. I don't get it, but it's a big opportunity here for both guys. Both 2 top 15 guys in the weight class. Gregor Gillespie, though, against Carlos Diego Ferreira. We know how good Ferreira's ground game is, right? Guy went in there, absolutely dominated Anthony Pettis on the ground. Gregor Gillespie's got to try to keep this fight standing, and I know Gregor Gillespie's ground game is very good. I just don't think it's good to the point where he can beat Diego Ferreira on the ground. So Gillespie trying to outstrike Diego Ferreira in this fight. Use the same game plan really Beneil Dariush did against Diego Ferreira. And I guess that's why Gillespie's a big favorite, because Ferreira's coming off a loss, but Gregor Gillespie's coming off a loss, and he hasn't fought since November of 19. I don't completely get that one. So that's Gregor Gillespie. Just for something to note, I did pick him to beat Brad Riddell. I thought he was going to beat Brad Riddell back in March. I think that was on Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards? I think it was. No, it was on Brunson Holland, excuse me. But I thought Gillespie was going to win that one. I'm not as confident, though, in this Diego Ferreira fight. Carlos Diego Ferreira is really good. So that's Gregor Gillespie, again, 13-1. Let's talk about his opponent here in Diego Ferreira. And yeah, Diego Ferreira did lose his last fight. How is that a split decision? I do not know, but the fight before that for Diego Ferreira, it was a winner over Anthony Pettis, and it was complete domination. That was only last year. That was in January of 2020. Goes in there, and I know Anthony Pettis, you might be down on him recently because his PFL fight against Clay Collard, not very good, even though he had him hurt in the third round, but Pettis just wasn't on his A game in that PFL fight. But Diego Ferreira, that's the fight that just stood out for me, man. I mean, he goes in there, former champion at Anthony Pettis, guys that submitted some of the best before in the weight class. Diego Ferreira comes in there, just first round, complete domination on the ground, takes down Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis just doesn't do anything off his back. Next round, second round, pretty easy for Diego Ferreira. Takes him down, takes back, rear naked choke. That's the fight. And then, yeah, before that for Diego Ferreira, big winning streak in the UFC. Beats guys such as Jared Gordon. He beats Kyle Nelson. He beats Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He beats some good fighters. He loses to Beneil Dariush. That was UFC 179. That was a while ago. And he does lose to Dustin Poirier. But 2015, very long time ago as well. That was on Chad Mendes versus Ricardo Lamas. 2015, it's been a while. Jorge Masvidal was the co-main event of that card as well. He made his promotional debut in 2014. Diego Ferreira has been around longer than you think. He made his promotional debut on Cub Swanson versus Jeremy Stevens in San Antonio, Texas, back in 2014. I like Carlos Diego Ferreira in this fight. I know I haven't talked much about the strategy of this one, but Diego Ferreira, he takes Gregor Gillespie down. I think he's going to be able to submit him. I really think so. I think Diego Ferreira's ground game is better than Gregor Gillespie's. And I know we've seen Gillespie submit Vince Pichel, seen him submit Jason Gonzalez, some solid fighters on the ground, but Gregor Gillespie has not fought anyone with the jiu-jitsu of Diego Ferreira. Diego Ferreira is dominant on the ground. BJJ black belt. You saw him dominate Anthony Pettis on the ground. I don't know if it's going to be as dominant as the Pettis fight against Gillespie, but I do think his jiu-jitsu is going to be enough. I think he's going to take him down. I think he's going to work for a submission, and that's how I've crossed Diego Ferreira to win this one. For Gregor Gillespie, I think he's got to keep this one standing. I think it's that simple. But again, it's inactivity. No one's seen Gregor Gillespie in the octagons since November of 19. We just saw Carlos Diego Ferreira in February. I like Carlos Diego Ferreira to get the job done here. I'm going to go by submission. I'm going to say it in the second round. Now here's a fight that potentially should be the main event, could be the main event, who knows, but it's Jeff Neal and Neal Magny. We're going to start first here with Neal Magny. So his last fight was a loss in the main event of a fight night card over in Fight Island against Michael Chiesa. Loses that fight by unanimous decision, and now is Michael Chiesa getting a title shot? Really? Like, Kamaru Usman wants to fight this guy. Okay, why isn't the Covington fight happening? Like, what are we waiting for? But, yeah, if Chiesa is getting a title shot, good for him, but Neal Magny loses to Michael Chiesa. If Neal Magny beat Michael Chiesa, would he be fighting Usman next? Who knows? But Magny before that beats Robbie Lawler in a fight where it just looked like Robbie Lawler was there to cash a paycheck. I mean, it sucked. I hope Robbie Lawler gets, I guess, the Nick Diaz fight next. Please give me that. But, Magny goes in there and absolutely dominates Robbie Lawler. Lawler really just doesn't look like he wanted to be there. Simple, Magny gets the job done. Before that, he beats Anthony Rocco Martin by unanimous decision, UFC 250. And then before that, he beats Li Jianglong by unanimous decision. And you just saw Li in his last fight beat Ponzinibbio. So there's that. And speaking of Ponzinibbio, before that Li fight for Neal Magny, he loses to Ponzinibbio by KO in the fourth round of their main event fight in 2018 over in Argentina. And that's been the last couple fights for Neal Magny. I mean, before the Ponzinibbio fight, by the way, Magny's been in the UFC for forever. Before the Ponzinibbio fight, though, he beats Craig White, beats Carlos Condit, loses to Rafael dos Anjos, beats Johnny Hendricks, loses to Lorenz Larkin, beats Hector Lombard, beats Kelvin Gastelum, beats Eric Silva, loses to Damian Maia, and then, I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, Neal Magny made his UFC debut all the way back on the Ultimate Fighter Season 16 finale card. He fought at UFC 157, I think was his first pro fight in the UFC. So when Neal Magny made his UFC debut, Neal Magny made his UFC debut before women started fighting in the UFC. There's that, because Rousey and Carmouche was the main event of that card. Of course, Magny stepped in the octagon before they fought. Got a win there by unanimous decision over John Manley. But again, that was 2013. Magny has been around for a while. But in this fight with Jeff Neal, we know Jeff Neal's got tremendous power. We know he can end this fight with one punch. I mean, that's every fight Jeff Neal is in. Hell, even in that 5th round against Stephen Thompson, Neal was hurting Thompson with some strikes. Obviously, Wonderboy pretty much won every single minute of that fight. But Jeff Neal did have his moments, and he did rock Wonderboy. Yeah, maybe like once in that fight. But still, I mean, Jeff Neal's a good fighter. Neal Magny's a good fighter as well. This fight, one of these fights, man, that could really just go either way. I don't know where this fight is going to take place. If Neal Magny's going to try to take this one to the ground, if he's going to try to strike with Jeff Neal, try to use his distance in this one, use his kicks effectively, I just don't know. Neal Magny also good clinch work as well. We could see that as well in this fight, just trying to avoid the power of Jeff Neal, try to drag Jeff Neal out into these later stages of the fight. But you did see in the Wonderboy fight with Jeff Neal, he was still throwing in the 5th round. He was still throwing in the 5th round, even though he was getting pieced apart in that fight. I was surprised he didn't get knocked out in that fight. But yeah, good fight for Jeff Neal in his last fight, even though it was a loss. Did give him that main event, did give him that 5-round fight as well. So that is Neal Magny, though, the Haitian sensation, coming to this fight with the record of 24-8. Let's talk more about his opponent here in Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. Now, real quick, before we start talking about this fight, the Neal and Neal fight, I guess they're both Neal, but I just, how was Jeff Neal a slight favorite over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? I don't get that, and I think Wonderboy started off as a slight favorite over Gilbert Burns, but like, was I the only one going into that fight? I was like, yeah, Wonderboy's gonna win this one pretty easily. I wasn't that concerned that Wonderboy was gonna lose that one. We've seen Wonderboy go up against like these heavy power punchers before in the past, guys who can shut the lights off really quickly, these young up and coming guys. I guess you can kind of put Vicente Luque in that same category. I thought Wonderboy was probably going to finish him very late in that fight. It was a decision win, but I mean, don't get me wrong, Wonderboy could have finished that one in the 5th round, just put a little bit more volume into it, but Wonderboy respected Jeff Neal's power that much that he really just didn't go for it in the 5th round because he was scared, or I wouldn't say scared, but he was worried about getting knocked out in that 5th round, or getting clipped with a big Jeff Neal shot. And that's the thing with Jeff Neal. He can end a fight with any punch. Now, the Mike Perry fight, he head kicked him in the first minute. Put away Mike Perry really damn easily, really quickly. When we just saw Mike Perry fight Vicente Luque for 3 rounds, Luque could not put away Mike Perry. I know Perry took that fight against Jeff Neal like, what, 3 months after losing to Luque, but still. Before that for Jeff Neal, he knocks out Nico Price. Now, he finished him on the ground, but that's a good win. Before that, he beat Bilal Muhammad. Jeff Neal's a very good fighter. Neal Magny's a very good fighter as well. 2 guys who I think are in the top 15 right now. I don't believe they're in the top 10. Actually, Neal Magny might be in the top 10, but 2 good top 15 fighters. The winner of this fight looking to crack potentially like the top 7 of this weight class. And Jeff Neal has not lost, other than the Wonderboy fight, since 2017, where he lost to Kevin Holland. He got TKO'd in the 3rd round of their fight. Jeff Neal coming to this fight, though, with a record of 13-3. And yeah, this fight could end either way. Jeff Neal could definitely tag Neal Magny very early in this fight. I mean, I'm saying like 1st round, Neal, like just like the Mike Perry fight, he could come there, head kick him in the 1st round and finish this one. Or Neal Magny can drag out Jeff Neal, work the clinch really well, just potentially try to take down Jeff Neal as well, and work on him for 3 rounds. I don't know, and definitely Neal Magny is capable of finishing fights as well. Do not get me wrong. You saw that in the Craig White fight. Finished him in the 1st round of their fight over in 2018 over on the Wonderboy and Darren Till card. So this fight is so evenly matched, man. I'm a big fan of this one. Jeff Neal's a very slight favorite in this one currently, and I definitely see why the odds are that close, but I'm gonna go with Neal Magny to get the job done here. Experience is key, folks. Neal Magny's been fighting since 2013 in the UFC, and he's fought the best of the best. He's fought former champions. He's fought guys such as Johnny Hendricks. He's fought Rafael dos Anjos. He's fought, future title challenger, potentially Michael Chiesa. He's fought Damian Maia. He's fought Kelvin Gastelum. He's fought Carlos Condit. He's fought Ponzinibbio. He's fought the best of the best, Robbie Lawler. The man just beat Robbie Lawler in his last win. I like Neal Magny in this fight, man. I like his wrestling. I like his clinch work a lot in this one. I think if he can ground the offense of Jeff Neal, prevent Neal from throwing these big haymakers that he will throw early in the fight, I like Neal Magny's path to victory in this one, and I think Magny will get the job done here by decision. Next up, we've got a fight between 2 top 15 strawweights, and it's between Amanda Ribas and Angela Hill. We're going to start first here with Angela Hill. So Angela Hill's last fight was a win over Ashley Yoder on the Leon Edwards Bilal Muhammad card. Just dominated Ashley Yoder on the feet. Pretty dominant performance for Angela Hill. Final scorecards 30-27 across the board for her. Before that, she lost to Michelle Waterson, who Michelle Waterson should be in the main event this weekend. Don't have an official confirmation on that one, but we're going to talk about Waterson and Rodriguez last on this video. But Hill loses to Michelle Waterson. Controversy in that fight. I guess I thought Michelle Waterson won. I didn't really see the Angela Hill victory. Final scorecards for that one, you got 49-46 for Michelle Waterson, you got a 48-47 for Michelle Waterson, and then you got a 48-47 for Angela Hill. Before that for Hill, she lost to Claudia Gadelha. Now that fight, I thought Angela Hill won that one. Yeah, that was a weird fight. Yeah, 29-28, two of them going to Claudia Gadelha, and you got one of them going to Angela Hill. Before that for Hill, she beat Loma Lukebunny, who Loma Lukebunny just beat Sam Hughes. Don't know why that fight was the thing, because I thought Lukebunny was going to win that one pretty easily. Of course, she just did last weekend or a couple days ago. And then Hill before that beats Hannah Cyphers, beats Carnelossi, loses to Yan Xiaonan, but Yan Xiaonan's looking like she's a fight away potentially for a title shot if she beats Carla Esparza. That fight's happening in, I believe, a couple weeks here. And then before that, Hill beats Jody Escobar, loses to Randa Marcos. Randa Marcos just lost for the first time ever in UFC women's history by DQ. Up kick, okay, illegal up kick. Was it a soccer flop? I don't know, maybe. Before that for Hill, she loses to Courtney Casey, she beats Marina Munoz, she loses to Nina Asfarov, beats Ashley Yoder, loses to Jessica Andrade, then she got cut before that, or that was her return to the UFC. She fought Invicta, loses to Rose Namajunas, loses to Tisha Torres, fights the Ultimate Fighter, loses to Carla Esparza. Angela Hill, we know her striking is good, her ground game has been, I don't know. I mean, she's been submitted multiple times in her career now. She's been submitted by some of the best of the best. I'm talking about Rose Namajunas. I'm talking about Carla Esparza. And those are the names that she's been submitted by. So it's not like Amanda Ribas is immediately going to shoot for a double, look for an arm, and put away Angela Hill. It's not that simple. But Angela Hill, yeah, her one weak spot is her ground game. We have seen her get beat on the ground before. That's how Claudia Gadelha kind of won her decision. Late takedowns in the end of rounds do win you fights sometimes, and that's what happened in that one. So Angela Hill, obviously she's got to keep this fight standing. We just saw Amanda Ribas get beat on the feet and get KO'd kind of twice, thanks Herb Dean, by Marina Rodriguez, who is in the main event. So there is that. Angela Hill, the obvious, I mean, she's got to keep this one standing, I think. Amanda Ribas, yes. I just said how Angela Hill, if she goes to the ground, she will have a slight chance against Amanda Ribas, but if she keeps this fight on the feet against Ribas, I think that's where she's going to have the best chance, obviously. And yes, Hill is 13-9, but her record's 13-9, but look at the names she's fought. Carla, Rose, Andrade, Asfarov, Brandon Marcos, Yan Xiaonan, Gadelha, Waterson, Yoder twice. I mean, those are some good fighters. So that's Angela Hill. Let's talk about her opponent, though, and Amanda Ribas. And Ribas' last fight, that was supposed to be the fight where Amanda Ribas is going to come in there. She's going to be a top 6 fighter, top 5 fighter after she beats Marina Rodriguez. It doesn't happen. She gets elbowed in the face a couple times. Again, she gets knocked out the first time. Herb Dean's like, okay, I think I'm going to stop it. Gets really close to stopping the fight. Backs up. Marina Rodriguez thinks it's over. Herb Dean, nope, fight's still going. Amanda Ribas comes kind of like tries to block. I don't know. Marina Rodriguez knocks her out again. Don't get me wrong. I like Herb Dean. I still think he's probably the best referee in the sport right now. Jason Herzog kind of, but missed a couple fence grabs in the last card. Whatever. Herb Dean's still the gold standard as an official, but as a referee. But Ribas just lost that fight to Marina Rodriguez. No other way to put it. Before that, she beats Paige Van Zandt, who bare knuckle fighter Paige Van Zandt. She's gonna fight Rachel Ostovich again in bare knuckle. What are we doing? Okay. And before that for Ribas, she beats Randa Marcos, beats Mackenzie Dern before that, and the Mackenzie Dern win for Amanda Ribas is only looking better and better by the day, because Mackenzie Dern is now a top 5 fighter in the weight class. I don't know who she's going to fight, but Mackenzie Dern is a fight away from being in a world championship contest. So there's that. And before that, Ribas beats Emily Whitmire in her UFC debut. And then her only loss before that was in Jungle Fight. She gets KO'd by Poliana Viana for the Jungle Fight Strawweight Championship over there in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. But that was in November of 2015. Yeah, Ribas got to take down Angela Hill in this fight, but I do see Ribas having some success on the feet against Angela Hill as well. But Angela Hill, kind of that brawler style, she's gonna throw a lot. She's just gonna throw the entire fight. Amanda Ribas, kind of the same way. You saw them in the Marina Rodriguez fight. Ribas just leaving herself wide open to getting hit, and Rodriguez took advantage multiple times in that fight and eventually put away Ribas in that second round. So on the feet, this should be competitive, but I would give the slight advantage to Angela Hill. On the ground, I'm giving the advantage no matter what to Amanda Ribas. I've seen Amanda Ribas submit some of the best of the best. okay, Paige Van Zandt, I don't know if that's the best, but I've seen her fight well on the ground against Mackenzie Dern. Again, Mackenzie Dern was coming off the long layoff at that time, so I don't know how much you can put into that one, but that's where Ribas has the obvious advantage. And I think that's why Amanda Ribas is going to win this fight. Yeah, I'm picking against Angela Hill again. I think Amanda Ribas is going to use her jiu-jitsu. I think she's going to be able to, I don't know if she's going to be able to put away Angela Hill, but I think her offensive wrestling and her offensive grappling is going to be enough to maintain top position multiple points in this fight, and she's going to stay on top of Angela Hill, and she's probably going to ride this one out to a decision. I do like Amanda Ribas to get the job done in this one. I think you're going to see her look for a couple submissions in this one. Will she be able to finish them? I do not know, but I like Amanda Ribas using her ground control to pick up a win in this one against Angela Hill, getting back on track after losing to Marina Rodriguez. We like Ribas in this one, improving to a record of 11 wins and 2 losses. So our next fight is between Big Ben Rothwell and Felipe Lins. I already talked about this fight over on the Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards card earlier this year. Prediction remains the same. Roll that footage. We have now got Ben Rothwell. He's back, taking on the former PFL $1 million winner in Felipe Lins, and we will start Felipe Lins, and Felipe Lins' UFC run has been just terrible, man. I mean, he comes in, loses to Andrei Arlovski in a fight that Felipe Lins was definitely supposed to win, but comes in that fight, takes some bombs from Andrei Arlovski, like some bombs from Arlovski. Stays in the fight, just loses it by unanimous decision over in Jacksonville, Florida in May of 2020. Look at the final scorecards of that fight. You have got 30-27s across the board, except for one judge who had it 29-28 for, obviously, Andrei Arlovski. I thought it was 30-27 pretty convincingly for Arlovski. Felipe Lins just looked slow in that fight, just couldn't get going in that one. That's okay, because you're fighting a former UFC champion in your first fight in the promotion. That is all right. You come back, you take on Tanner Boser in your second fight, and you get knocked out by Tanner Boser in 2 minutes. Yikes. Yeah, Tanner Boser put Felipe down pretty early in that fight. Felipe Lins, given, I think it was a lot of, you're coming back so quickly after fighting Andrei Arlovski. I mean, it's like a month later, he's coming back, he's taking on Boser, and Boser puts him down pretty easily. Not the Felipe Lins we saw in PFL. The Felipe Lins we saw in PFL was pretty damn good. 4-0 in his run over in 2018. I know he did fight in Bellator as well, lost to Nemkov and a couple guys over there as well, but Lins looks really good in PFL. He looked like a potential maybe top 15 guy in the UFC. Arlovski fight wasn't great, Boser fight wasn't great. Lins looked very slow in his 2 fights in the UFC so far. His striking looked slow. I know he got that big contract too. I mean, he made like what, 5 times as much as Tanner Boser did in their fight. But yeah, Lins is coming to this one with a record of 14-5. I just don't know what Felipe Lins we're gonna get in this fight. Are we gonna get PFL Felipe Lins, who's looking for the finish at all times, or are we gonna get UFC Felipe Lins, who's not great? And I know Ben Rothwell is not the best of opponents, but I mean, Ben Rothwell is a former top 5 fighter in the weight class, and you saw what he did to Ovince St. Preux. He outstruck Ovince St. Preux for 3 rounds, and I know he got knocked down at the very end of that fight, but he looked good in that one. And he beat Stefan Struve, even though Struve was definitely winning that fight. Rothwell kicks him Rothwell kicks him in the nuts 3 times, and then eventually finishes him. Thanks, Dan Mergliotta, for that one. But I don't know. I just don't know if Lins is gonna do this one. I just don't know. He looked very bad. I'm just gonna keep it real. He did not look good in the last 2 fights. He did not. If you look bad against Arlovski and Boser, Ben Rothwell, kind of a brawler, but still, Rothwell's going to pick his shots, and he's probably going to beat up Felipe Lins. Overall, though, let's talk about Ben Rothwell. And Big Ben Rothwell. The Marcin Tybura fight was not great for Ben Rothwell. I thought he was going to win that one. Obviously, that did not happen for us. Marcin Tybura surprisingly just outstruck Ben Rothwell. And yes, Ben Rothwell did look slow in that fight as well, but, I mean, I'm just going to keep it simple with you. When you're looking at this fight, Ben Rothwell should be able to beat Felipe Lins. The Felipe Lins we saw in the last 2 fights in the UFC, Ben Rothwell, say what you want about the guy, he's going to run right through Felipe Lins. And I don't think Ben Rothwell is going to have to go to the ground game, because I think Felipe Lins' ground game is very underrated. He doesn't go to it as much as he should. This is going to be a stand-up fight, and Ben Rothwell, I mean, yeah. Felipe Lins is not going to put away Ben Rothwell. Ben Rothwell has taken some bombs from the best in the UFC over the last couple years. Okay, he took some bombs by JDS. He did not go down in that fight. Blagoy Ivanov did not go down. Arlovski took a lot of damn shots by Arlovski, but stayed on his feet. Tybura took some bombs as well. It's very hard to put away Ben Rothwell. The last guy to do it is Cain Velasquez in Rothwell's UFC debut, UFC 104, Machida Shogun won, I do believe. Yes, this is the first encounter. Shogun won that fight, but it's okay. I mean, judges gave it to Machida. Who cares? That fight was 10 years ago, but, I mean, or over 10 years ago. God, that was 2009. Crazy. But, Rothwell lost that fight to Velasquez. That's the last time he's been finished, okay? That's saying a lot. And before that, he got KO'd in Affliction by Andrei Arlovski. Oh, remember Affliction. Oh, yikes. But, yeah, Rothwell, I don't see Felipe Lins finishing Ben Rothwell. I don't think it's going to happen, especially the Lins that we've got in the last two fights. If I'm being honest, the opposite's going to happen. Ben Rothwell is going to finish Felipe Lins in this fight. He's probably going to knock him out. And I know we haven't gotten a Ben Rothwell finish in the UFC since the Struve one, and I know the Struve one is basically, well, Ben Rothwell, yeah, I'm down 3 rounds basically because I got deducted 3 points. Just got to go for it. Just started swinging, and he got the win. And before that, you got to go to the last TKO finish. You got to go Alistair over in September of 2014 on Jacare Gegard Mousasi over in Connecticut. It's been a while, but I think Ben Rothwell's going to be able to get the job done here. Don't think he's going to go to the ground. I think he's just going to overwhelm Felipe Lins in the feet. I mean, that's kind of what Arlovski did. Just got in his face and started throwing strikes. I think Rothwell's going to do the same. Give it to him. Ben Rothwell, I think he puts away Felipe Lins and unfortunately sends Lins back to the PFL. So it's time for the main event of the evening, and it is between Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson. We're going to start first here with the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson. Her last fight was that win over Angela Hill in the main event of that fight in the Apex. One fight that night was a good fight, and Waterson won that one. I talked about it in the Angela Hill Amanda Hibas fight prediction video, I guess. I thought Michelle Waterson won that one. It was a good fight for her. And before that, split decision lost to Carlos Esparza. That was not a split decision. Carlos Esparza won that fight, and I picked Michelle Waterson to win that one. It was not a great fight. Wasn't that entertaining of a fight. Esparza got the job done. Before that, Michelle Waterson was on her kind of run, trying to fight for the title. She beat Courtney Casey, beat Felice Herrig, beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz, then fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and basically a #1 contenders fight. If she won that fight, she was going to fight Zhang Weili for the title. Unfortunately, Joanna beat her by unanimous decision in the main event of a card over in Tampa, Florida. Waterson's been fighting the UFC since 2015, where she made her debut on the Ultimate Fighter season finale for the American Top Team versus the Black Cillians, I guess, show over the Ultimate Fighter. And then after that, she beat Paige Van Zandt in the main event of a card in Sacramento, where, don't forget, Paige Van Zandt was like number 6 in the world. It was a pretty big favorite in that one. Michelle Waterson comes in there and submits her in a couple minutes. I mean, made it look really easy in that one. And then after that, they gave Waterson Rose Namajunas in another #1 contenders fight, because Rose after that went on to fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Of course, Waterson lost that one by rear naked choke. Also got caught with that same head kick that Rose Namajunas caught Zhang Weili with. That same head kick she caught Michelle Waterson with. Pretty nice in that fight. I mean, Rose Namajunas is so damn good. Maybe the GOAT of 115, potentially. I think I would say so. After that, for Waterson, she loses to Tisha Torres, and then that's, of course, where she went on the run. Casey, Herrig, Kowalkiewicz, lost to Joanna, lost to Esparza, and now the win over Angela Hill. I don't know why Marina Rodriguez is such a big favorite in this one. I don't get it. Michelle Waterson is a good fighter, guys. Michelle Waterson is a good fighter. A lot of people thought Angela Hill was gonna beat her. Hey, I was on the Michelle Waterson train going to that one. I think she's a really good striker. I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves. I don't think she gets enough credit for being a good striker. And yeah, she is solid on the ground. We saw her submit, I guess, jiu-jitsu master Paige Van Zandt, kind of. At the time, we were like, oh my goodness, Paige Van Zandt's grappling so good. And she can also flying head kick Beck Rawlings. But yeah, Michelle Waterson, her submission game's good. Her stand-up game's good. All around a good fighter. And I think it's only a matter of time. I know Laura Sanko brought this up a couple times. It's only a matter of time before the UFC makes a 105 weight class. There's so many fighters, or makes an atomweight weight class. There's so many fighters that could benefit off of this atomweight weight class. I mean, you got Michelle Waterson, potentially get a Jessica Penne going down there. Loma Lookbunny could go down there. I mean, Tisha Torres maybe. I'm not sure. Brianna Van Buren, maybe. I'm not completely sure about that one. But I mean, there's so many fighters that could go down to 105. You can go in and try to take some of the rising fighters, take some of the one championship fighters at 105 as well. I just don't get why they're not doing that yet. And I think Michelle Waterson would probably be the #1 contender in that weight class. She would probably be the first champion of the atomweight weight class in the UFC. So I don't know why they're not doing it yet. So Michelle Waterson, always in her fights, you gotta consider she is always fighting up in weight class. Now, this fight with Marina Rodriguez, though, is at 125. Yeah, apparently it is. There's no official word on this one, but apparently this one's at flyweight. That changes a lot. We've never seen Michelle Waterson at 125. We've never seen Marina Rodriguez at 125. What are we doing? Like, right? I don't know, because win or lose, this really doesn't do much for you at 115. Is the winner of this fight staying at 125? Maybe they should. I know Chael Sonnen pitched that Michelle Waterson should fight 125, when in reality she should be fighting 105. He pitched that after she lost to Carla Esparza. It's coming true in this one. For Marina Rodriguez, yeah, if you win this fight, hey, they're looking for opponents for Valentina Shevchenko. I know Valentina Shevchenko is most likely fighting the winner of Lauren Murphy and JoJo Calderwood, but a win for the winner of this fight, you could be looking at a title shot at 125. I'm just saying, just because of how shallow that weight class is, or you're looking at a potential, all right, you win this fight, you're looking at one more, and you're getting the shot at Valentina Shevchenko. Maybe that's the case in this one. Who knows? And again, the UFC will probably reward definitely both these fighters for taking this fight on very short notice. I guess saving the card when Neal Magny could definitely headline this one if you needed them to. But all right, but yeah, that's Michelle Waterson, though. Her stand-up game is good. Now, I don't know what 125 Michelle Waterson's going to look like. I just don't know. She's an atomweight fighting at strawweight, and now you got an atomweight fighting at flyweight. I don't know, man. That's Michelle Waterson. We're talking about our opponent now, Marina Rodriguez. And yeah, Marina Rodriguez looked great in the Amanda Ribas fight. Striking on point in that one. And yeah, she finished her twice. Talked about that in the Ribas fight. But yeah, she looked very good in that one. And then Marina Rodriguez before that lost to Carla Esparza. Classic Carla Esparza fight. It was a split decision win for Carla. Used her wrestling really well. I thought Esparza won that one. Some people thought Marina Rodriguez won, but still it was a close fight. And before that, Rodriguez had a majority decision to Cynthia Calvillo on the Overeem Rosenstraight card. Calvillo did miss weight by 5 pounds in that one. And before that, Marina beat Tisha Torres, beat Jessica Aguilar, had a draw with Randa Marcos, and that's been the UFC run so far for Marina Rodriguez. Haven't seen Rodriguez much in the ground. Her ground game is okay, but it's on the feet where Marina Rodriguez is probably going to want to keep this one with Michelle Waterson. I think we have seen Michelle Waterson, yes, she does use her ground game a lot, but in the Angela Hill fight, she did strike with Angela Hill a lot in that one. Angela Hill's a very good striker. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know where this fight's going to go considering it is at 125. We're going to see two different fighters basically in this one, and I know Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson, it's not going to be like they're going to be completely different, but still, it's a different weight class, so you just don't know how this one is going to turn out. Only a week to prepare for this one. But yeah, Rodriguez, I think her best chance of winning this one is definitely on the feet. I don't see her taking this one on the ground. If anyone's going to take this fight to the ground, it will be Michelle Waterson. I don't anticipate an early finish in this fight for Marina Rodriguez, though, nor would I expect it from Michelle Waterson. I think this fight's probably going to go 5 rounds. I think it will. Michelle Waterson is tough to put away. She really is. Michelle Waterson's only been finished once by TKO in her career, and that was back in 2009. I mean, she's been submitted a couple times. Yes, she has. She's been submitted by Rose Namajunas, and that's really about it. Michelle Waterson's so hard to put away. Same with Marina Rodriguez there. She's never been put away so far in her career as well. I'm definitely thinking this fight's going to go 25 minutes. At least we're assuming this fight's going to go 25 minutes. I think it would if Michelle Waterson's fight with Hill went 25 minutes. I'm assuming this one will be going 5 rounds, or it's going to be scheduled for 5 rounds, obviously. So Marina Rodriguez, though, can definitely outstrike Michelle Waterson in the feet. If her boxing is on point, she'll probably beat Michelle Waterson if she can stuff a couple takedowns, because I do think that eventually Waterson is going to look for a takedown in this one. So there's that. And yeah, I don't think Waterson's going to have the same success, say, Carla Esparza did against Marina Rodriguez on the ground, but I think she will find some success, and it might be able to win her a couple rounds. So with all this being said, I'm taking Michelle Waterson to win the fight. I don't get why people are underestimating Michelle Waterson again. I mean, a lot of people thought Angela Hill was going to beat her. I think this is a fight that Michelle Waterson's very winnable for her, and I think she's going to upset a lot of people in this one. I mean, Waterson, her striking, when her karate is on, she is very good, and she can always mix in the grappling with her striking. You saw that in the Paige Van Zandt fight. She struck with Paige Van Zandt a minute in that fight, and eventually got her with the judo throw, took her down, took her back, submitted her. I like Michelle Waterson to win this fight, man. I really do. I think big upset pick in this one. I wouldn't say it's a big upset pick, but on short notice at 125, again, it's kind of a coin toss, because what are we going to get out of a 125 Michelle Waterson and a 125 Marina Rodriguez? I just don't know. But I'm taking the veteran here, and I'm taking Michelle Waterson up 2 weight classes basically in this one. Going with Waterson to get the job done. And if you pick up a win against Marina Rodriguez at 125, again, 125 is so shallow. I say the winner of this fight is like in prime position to fight for the title. Now, I don't think that's going to be their next fight, but I mean, the winner of this Rodriguez and Waterson fight, you're looking at the weight class. Maybe the winner of this fight fights the winner of Kuchagin and Araujo. If Waterson and Rodriguez are looking to stay at 125, they're going to be 2 fights away from the title, including this fight. So if they can win this fight, They're fighting, I think, the winner of Arujo and Kuchagian for a potential title shot. So there's that. But we're going to go with Michelle Waterson, though, to win this fight. 3 rounds to 2 in the main event. Unanimous decision, 48-47. And folks, thank y'all for watching this Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez full card preview and predictions. If you have not yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. And thank y'all for watching. And Mamba forever.